Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years, and today I have my special guest. She's award winning and best selling author, no other than Miss Angela Henry.
Oh,
Welcome to Book 101, Miss Angela, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
okay. Well, I'm Angela Henry, and I am an author of mysteries, thrillers, and urban fantasy. I am what's called a hybrid author, meaning that I self-publish some of my titles, and then I also work with a publisher. So I do both. So it's kind of the best of both worlds for me. And
Yes,
next June, no, next May will be my 20th anniversary as a published author.
Miss Angela Henry, thank you so much for sharing your talents to the world. Thank you for those best selling and award winning piece. What qualities define a best selling and award winning writer?
Um, what qualities
Yes.
does it take to be a best-selling and award-winning author? Is
No,
that what you mean?
it's okay if it's even not.
Um, well, I think you have to just have a sense of you need to keep going and believe in your work because you're going to be the biggest cheerleader for your books. Um, there's a lot of rejection being an author. You have to prepare yourself for, and it can, it can get you down. It could, kind of mess with you emotionally and be very discouraging. So that's why it's very important to be confident in what you're writing. And it's hard because we all suffer from imposter syndrome at times, but it's very important to be the biggest cheerleader for your work. Um, because no one else can be a bigger cheerleader for your work than you. So I think if you just keep on going, there's a good chance that one of your books will take off and catapult you into that bestseller list.
So, Miss Angela, do you think Family Lies will be considered a best selling and award winning piece?
I hope so. I mean, you can never predict. There have been books that I have put out that I thought would do better. There were books that I didn't really think would do as much, but did, very well. I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot. You really can't predict what's going to be a bestseller and what's not going to be a bestseller. But, you need to have pride in everything that you write, no matter because if it gets published, that's success. That's a successful right there. You have to define what you consider is successful for you because it might not be successful. What you define as success may not be success to another author. So you have to have a sense of what you consider successful.
Yes. Believe in yourself, people.
Exactly.
The Family Lies, what is the premise?
Well, The Family Lies is about librarian Sabrina Adams. She lies about her credentials. She's kind of fallen on hard times. She lost her job at the public library. She's working part time at a bookstore. Her home life is very stressful. There's something going on there. She lives with her sister, and it's not an ideal situation. So she has the opportunity for a job restoring the library for a local wealthy family, and she desperately wants that job. So she lies about her credentials to land that job, only to discover that the family has ties to murders and disappearances of some local women. Um, and she also finds out something mysterious happened to the librarian that they had hired before her. So that's the premise.
Interesting, Miss Angela. So, what are the initial steps writers should take to pursue a path toward becoming a bestseller?
Um, well, I think you kind of need to Um, a lot of authors, I don't personally, but I know a lot of, there are authors that um, they write for the market. So they see books that are selling very well, and then they write in that genre. I don't personally do that because I like to write books that I enjoy reading. I just happen to write in a popular genre because thrillers are extremely popular right now. Um, but I think, you kind of need to follow the trends if you want to write something, best selling. You need to check out. I mean, and I guess it depends on if you're going to work for the publisher and if you're going to self publish. Especially if you're going to self publish, be an indie author, you need to be looking at um, other books in your genre that are successful. And, you know, there's a lot of small things that come together. And a lot of that is back cover copy description. Um, what kinds of book descriptions, on the back are resonating with readers who are looking for those types of books. The cover art has to be on trend with other books in your genre that are selling very well. And you have to take all of that in consideration. There's a lot of moving parts. There's no one path to get there. So I would say just take all of that into consideration and do your homework. You really need to study the market, study publishing in general, study trends. There's a lot that goes into it.
The family lies. What are your struggles in writing this novel?
Um, well, this novel was pretty easy for me to write because I worked in the library field for 30 plus years. I'm a retired college librarian. So when it came to the library aspect of the book, that was really easy because I just kind of drew on my experiences working in the library field. The one thing that I think was a little difficult for me was there's a mild kind of thread of a gothic thriller in this book. A young woman goes to a big estate to work for a wealthy family, and bad things happen. And I wasn't quite as familiar writing that kind of book. Um, so that was a little challenging, but I got good feedback from my editor because this is one of my books that's published by a publisher. It's published by Storm Publishing, and my editor is excellent, and she helped me kind of navigate the things that were not as strong in the book. Um, but other than that, it wasn't a hard book to write.
So, Miss Angela, what challenges do writers typically face on their journey to gaining widespread acclaim?
Just getting your name out there. It's a really, I mean, hundreds of books, new books are released every day, and it's really kind of hard to kind of cut through all of that and make a name, get your name out there, get your book titles out there, because you're competing with so many other titles that are being released at the same time. So, and then, it's, what you also want to do is the people who do read your books, you want to retain them so that they'll, be excited about your next book. And that can kind of be hard too, to keep people's attention because our attention spans, everything is competing for our attention. Our lives, our jobs, our families, social media and everything. So for me personally, the hardest thing about, you know, being an author is just kind of standing out, when you're in a pack of other people writing the same kinds of books.
You must be unique, people like Miss Angela. The family lies. Can you tell us the research process?
Well, like I said, the library aspect of it, I did have to do a bit of research because uh, my main character, Sabrina, is hired to restore the library, a private library for a wealthy family. And I've never done that in my career. So I had to look up and see what all that entailed. So um, I did a lot of research into just how one would restore a library, how you would evaluate the collection of books, just things like that. Um, and then another thing that I had to kind of research was, there's crimes committed in this, and there's also there's a character who is ill, and without giving away too much, I had to research the illness to see, to make sure I was depicting it accurately. So those were the main things, research things that I had to do for the book.
So, Miss Angela, how do best-selling and award-winning writers develop a compelling narratives that resonate with readers?
Well, again, I kind of write the kind of books that I would enjoy reading, and I, hope readers enjoy it too. But I think it also goes back to uh, what's kind of trending in the genre that you're writing in. And, of course, you want to be unique. So taking maybe some familiar tropes, thriller tropes, and then kind of giving them a new spin, or, putting a new spin on them to make it unique for you and for your voice as an author.
Definitely. The family lies. Which chapter do you want to share to us? Your favorite chapter?
My favorite chapter is probably the end, the prologue. Um, when all the action has happened, um, you kind of get a little update, and then you also find out some additional kind of shocking information. So I would say the prologue is my favorite.
How do successful writers maintain consistency and discipline in their writing process?
A hard one because it's different for every author. I know some authors who pick a certain time every day that they're going to write, um, and nothing can interrupt that. And then I know other authors who just, you know, they may write 20 minutes here and there, like throughout the day. They'll pick, whatever time that they have. Like if they have children or they have a full time job, they'll take small chunks of their day to write and get their word count in. Um, I also know authors that plot out everything before they start, and then others that just sit down and write and see where it takes them. Personally, when I'm working on a book, I try to write about 2,000 words a day. And it's kind of a mixture because I do dictation. I'll take my phone and sit on the couch and just dictate out a scene and then copy and paste it into my original document and then, clean it up and everything. Um, I used to be what's called a planner, and I would plan out everything. And I still do to a certain extent, but I don't follow 100% of it. I might follow 75 to 80% of that outline to write my books. It just depends on the author. Everyone's got their own process, but you have to show up and do the writing because you're not going to get anything written unless you're dedicated and disciplined. So, and it can be hard because life gets in the way and you have all kinds of things competing for your attention, but it's very important to be consistent and to have a routine in place or you're not going to get anything written.
In the family lies, what strategies did you use to balance creativity with the market demands?
Um, that's a good question. I always like to put my own particular twist and spin on things. So, in this book, there's a lot of references to like Beauty and the Beast. And since it's uh, a book about a woman who goes to catalog the library of a wealthy family, I also wanted to put in references to books um, that that the main character is working on in the library, and also kind of threads of different books that kind of show up in the plot, like Beauty and the Beast, Rebecca, um, Jane Eyre, books that I loved, you know, that I read growing up. I kind of put little references to those kind of like Easter eggs throughout the book. And that was fun to do. And that's another thing. You got to have fun with it. If it's a chore and a dread to sit down and write whatever you're writing, then maybe you need to set it aside and work on something that excites you. So I always have to be excited about what I'm writing about. But at the same time, still putting my own spin on it.
Yes, you have the passion of what you are doing, people. Even you are tired, you have the dedication to do it. So, Miss Angela, how do award-winning authors approach character development to leave a lasting impact, just like the family lies?
Well, you have to start them out. Um, you usually give them some kind of problem that they're dealing with, or some kind of past event or something that's impacting their life when the book first starts out. And then as the events of the book unfold, you find them dealing with this either past trauma or whatever they're dealing with, and show how it's changing them. And and it can be for the better or the worse. But at the end of the book, you like to make your characters different or transformed in some way based on the events that happened in the book. They may be forced to confront something that happened to them before the book started or during the book, but you always want to leave them transformed. And like I said, it could be for the better or the worse at the end of the book. So you like to leave characters different. They have to be, different, changed circumstances or what have you by the end of the book. That's what I like to do.
Very well said, Miss Angela. Very, very sad. And what will be your advice for those people out there want to write their own novel?
I just say just start writing. Um, I don't necessarily think that, my main education for writing was reading. So if you're very well read and you know what you want to write, be an avid reader of the type of book that you would like to write. Um, Also, just write. It'll probably not be great, but at least you're going to get it out on the page. And the more you write, the better you get. And then the other thing I would say is learn publishing. Whether it's self publishing or traditional publishing, you need to do your research to find out how it works, especially if it's something you want to pursue full time and it's going to be your job. You need to learn about it. There's a glut of information out there that, there's no excuse for not being informed about how publishing works. So that would be my next thing, would be to learn how publishing works, no matter what path you pick, whether it's self-publishing, whether it's traditional. You need to do your research and find out how it works.
Yes, people, and stop procrastinating. If you have the passion to write, write, and share to the world. So, Miss Angela, what are your short term and long term goals in writing?
Well, I've got two more books that I'm contracted for with my publisher, Storm Publishing. I have a mystery series that I self-publish. That's what I became an author with that series. And I'm going to be rebranding that series and re releasing it next year for the 20-year anniversary. And my goal is just to keep on writing and getting my work out there.
Good luck to your goal, Miss Angela, and looking forward for more award-winning and best-selling novels. What steps can writers take to ensure their work remains relevant over time?
Mm, I don't know. That's a tricky question because I think relevant kind of means different things to different people. Like, what's relevant to you may not be relevant to me. All I can say is to write the books of your heart, the books that bring you joy, that you enjoy writing, and that you're proud to have your name on. That's all you can really do.
Definitely. The family lies. What else you can say about it?
Well, it is a thriller. It's coming out January 22nd. It will be out in ebook, audiobook, and print. And will be available on Amazon and uh, Kindle Unlimited. And I hope that you enjoy it if you pick it up.
Yes, people, let's support Miss Angela Henry. To sum up our episode, Miss Angela, how do award winning writers inspire the next generation of authors?
Just keep writing and writing good books, connecting with other authors. I have a lot of aspiring authors who contact me, and I'm happy to give them whatever advice that I can because, I wished I'd had someone like, that I could talk to about things when I was, first starting out. And I think it's very important to share your knowledge with, people who are trying to do the same thing that you're doing. I mean, you can't do it for them, obviously, but just having someone to talk to and to give advice to and share, your experiences and your struggles with is a tremendous help, especially when you're starting out.
Yes, yes, people, find your mentor and right. So, Miss Angela, again, thank you so much for sharing your award winning and best selling novels.
Thank
So,
you,
can
Daniel. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you inviting me.
yes, and can you please invite our listeners to support all your books? Miss Angela, can you please invite our listeners?
Please check out my books. My website is angelahenry.com if you would like more information. I also have a newsletter where you can get a free book. So check me out and I hope you enjoy it. And I've had a great time here. And thank you so much, Daniel. I really appreciate it.
Yes, people, again, let's support Miss Angela Henry because if you support her, more empowering books, novels to come, and of course, award winning and best selling novels. So, Miss Angela, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon. I'm gonna share you the link after all my interviews, Miss